It was a bright morning in Washington, adjusting his famous tall black hat. D.C. and Abraham Lincoln stood proudly in front of a mirror, adjusting his famous tall black hat. The hat, the legendary stovepipe hat, the crown jewel of presidential fashion, the skyscraper of headwear. Lincoln tilted his head left. The hat tilted right. He tilted right. The hat tilted left. He sighed. Now listen here, he said to his reflection. I have delivered speeches during storms, debates during chaos, and I have grown this magnificent beard with patience. I will not be defeated by a hat. But the hat had other plans. As Lincoln stepped outside the White House, a gust of wind wished down Pennsylvania Avenue. The hat wobbled dramatically, spinning like it was auditioning for a circus act. Lincoln grabbed it just in time. Not today, he declared heroically. A group of reporters gasped. One whispered, "Did you see that? The hat almost achieved liftoff." Lincoln straightened it again and began walking toward Congress. But with every long, confident step, the hat seemed to grow taller, and taller, and taller. By the time he reached the steps, it looked less like a hat and more like a small lighthouse. "Sir," said a concerned aide, squinting upward, "are you aware that your hat is now approximately 3 feet taller than usual?" Lincoln paused. "Is it HM? I suspected something felt drafty." Just then, a pigeon landed on the very top of the hat. Lincoln froze. The pigeon began building what looked suspiciously like the beginning of a nest. "Excuse me," Lincoln said calmly, trying not to move. "I am currently being colonized." The aide attempted to shoo the pigeon away, but Lincoln was so tall with the hat that no one could reach it. A ladder was requested. A very long ladder. By the time it arrived, 2 more pigeons had joined the first. "Gentlemen," Lincoln announced, "I believe my hat has officially become public housing." He tried to remove it, but it wouldn't budge. It was stuck, firmly, as if it had signed a lease agreement with his head. Lincoln tugged once, twice. Nothing. Meanwhile, inside Congress, a debate was underway. Lincoln entered the chamber, ducking carefully through the doorway. The hat scraped the top of the frame with a dramatic squeak. Every head turned. One senator whispered, "Is that hat taller than the Washington Monument?" Another replied, "At this rate, it might apply for statehood." Lincoln approached the podium. As he began to speak, the hat suddenly tilted forward, covering his eyes completely. He continued speaking anyway. "47 years ago," he began, voice muffled under black felt. From the audience came a nervous cough. "Mr. President, we cannot see your face." Lincoln lifted the hat slightly. The pigeons squawked in protest. One feather floated dramatically down onto a senator's notes. Trying to maintain dignity, Lincoln attempted to remove the hat again. This time, he pulled so hard that he spun in a full circle, nearly knocking over a desk. The hat remained unmoved, tall and proud. Finally, inspiration struck. Lincoln snapped his fingers. "Bring me butter." The entire chamber fell silent. "Butter, sir." "Yes, butter." Immediately, moments later, a stick of butter was delivered. Lincoln carefully applied it around the brim of the hat. The pigeons watched nervously. He tugged again. Slowly, slowly, the hat began to slide upward. The chamber held its breath. With a dramatic pop, the hat flew off straight into the air, spinning like a rocket. It shot through a window, soared over the lawn, and landed perfectly on top of a statue in the distance. The pigeons remained inside the chamber, confused but unharmed. Lincoln smoothed his hair calmly. "Well," he said, adjusting his coat, "that was educational." The reporters outside were already sketching cartoons. Lincoln battling a skyscraper hat, Lincoln being lifted into the sky like a balloon, Lincoln negotiating with pigeons. Headlines would read, "President defeats tall hat in epic showdown." An aide approached cautiously. "Sir, should we retrieve the hat?" Lincoln smiled thoughtfully. "No, let it rest. It has served nobly. But perhaps it is time for a slightly shorter future." The next day, Lincoln appeared wearing a modestly tall hat, still impressive, but no longer a potential aviation hazard. The pigeons, disappointed, moved to a nearby tree. Congress resumed normal debates. But from that day on, whenever a strong wind blew through Washington, people would look up nervously, just in case a very tall hat came flying back to reclaim its rightful owner. In Abraham Lincoln, he learned an important lesson. You can lead a nation through its greatest trials. But even the greatest leader must occasionally wrestle with a rebellious hat, because sometimes history isn't just serious speeches and important decisions. Sometimes it's about butter, pigeons, and a hat that almost achieved flight.